Good day everyone, my name is Rosemary Cañeno from BTL Ed2, major in Home Economics. For today's video, I will discuss about sprinting mechanics.
Race comes together perfectly when you've eliminated any mistakes in the race. So, as a sprinter, the more force you put into the ground, the faster you run. It's ground force that creates speed and power that an athlete can generate. Most of the athletes, sprinters at that time, you would see, like your Carl Lewis, who had this, beautiful lean, this beautiful forward lean. And that's great, but what that does is it takes away some of the mass of your torso over your center of gravity, over your hips, which allows you to put that force into the ground. So me being a little bit more upright, I think most people kind of over-exaggerate and think that I was leaning back, which I wasn't. I was just much more upright with a slight lean, which allowed me to have much more mass over my hips, and having that mass over my hips put me in a position as well to be able to strike better and be able to put more force into the ground. Generally speaking, taller athletes struggle in the shorter sprints because it's so, those 100 meters, for example, is so dependent on the start and the drive phase in the first 30 meters or so, and it's very difficult for most tall sprinters to be able to cycle through as quickly as they would need to and to be effective in that part of the race, except for Usain Bolt. That's what makes him different. Again, most of the time, height is a disadvantage in the 100 meters because the first 30 meters, the position and the angles you have to produce in order to produce rapid turnover and power to come out of the blocks is very difficult for athletes with longer limbs to achieve those types of angles. Certainly over the last probably 20 years, we've seen athletes start to take more advantage of strength training to develop upper body strength, understanding that good upper body strength, good core strength makes a better sprinter, understanding that especially as you get into, the 400 meters, even, good upper body strength helps you maintain form and technique during the fatigue stage of the race. Good upper body strength helps sprinters even in the 100 meters to develop more power, which we know equates to more speed. And so I think we've seen a different approach to strength and resistance training as it relates to sprints. The race comes together perfectly, and rarely do you see that, but the race comes together perfectly when you've eliminated any mistakes in the race. So you've been able to go through the entire race without making any mistakes, and the race strategy that you set up going into that race, you've executed it perfectly, and you can cross the finish line and say, okay, there's nothing that I would change about that race. There's nothing that I would have done different looking back on it. That never happened for me, and it rarely happens for any sprinter. It's an exercise to some degree in eliminating the mistakes or minimizing the mistakes and trying to execute to perfection. Certainly there's advances in training techniques, advances in technology and nutrition and all of that sort of thing, but it's also the faster we run, the more it proves to us as humans that we can go faster. And so people are inspired by faster performances by the last generation or the last athlete. Someone breaks the world record today, maybe yesterday lots of athletes thought, well, it's not possible to run that time. Now they know that it is, and so they continue to move it forward.